My son stepped in front of me, spread both arms across the doorway and said, "Dad, you're not coming inside while my wife's family is here." For a few seconds, I couldn't speak. I was standing at my own son's front door, looking into a house where I had been invited for dinner, yet somehow I was the one being kept outside. I looked at Ryan, hoping he would step aside. He didn't. I turned around, walked back to my car, and sat there with my hands on the steering wheel, wondering how my family had reached this point. My name is David Halverson. I'm 63 years old. I spent 31 years working for Portland's Municipal Water Authority. My entire career was about protecting people from problems they couldn't see. I retired 2 years ago with a paid-off house, a steady pension, and a simple life with my wife, Carol. Carol and I have been married for 38 years. She's the kind of woman who remembers every birthday, every anniversary, and every promise anyone has ever made. Together we raised one son, Ryan. Ryan married Amanda 6 years ago. At first we welcomed her like family. She was polite, organized, and always seemed thoughtful. She remembered Carol's coffee order, brought flowers on holidays, and never gave us a reason to worry, or so we thought. What none of us knew was that Ryan and Amanda had invested almost everything they owned into a small restaurant that was quietly losing thousands of dollars every month. The pressure was crushing them. Looking back now, I realized the warning signs were everywhere. Ryan suddenly started asking strange questions about our wills and whether Carol and I had ever created a living trust. A few weeks later, a title company called our house asking to confirm an appointment we had never scheduled. Then important mail started disappearing. At the time, I blamed the Postal Service. I had no idea someone much closer to me had another plan. One afternoon, I stopped by Ryan's apartment to return something he had borrowed. As I walked toward the back door, I heard Amanda talking on the phone. She sounded exhausted. "I just need 6 more months," she whispered. "Nobody is going to lose the restaurant. I already have a plan." I didn't think much about it. I simply felt sorry for her. I wish I had listened more carefully, because just a few weeks later, one routine visit to my bank uncovered a secret that would destroy everything I believed about my own family. The next morning, I drove to our local bank to add Carol as a joint owner on one of our savings certificates. It was supposed to take 10 minutes. Instead, it changed my life. The branch manager, Diane, greeted me with her usual smile. But as she pulled up my account, her expression suddenly changed. She stared at the screen for a few seconds before looking back at me. "David, when did you give your daughter-in-law power of attorney?" I frowned. "I never did." She turned her monitor toward me. There it was. A legal power of attorney filed 3 months earlier. It listed Amanda Halverson as the person authorized to control my bank accounts, financial decisions, and even my real estate. My heart started pounding. I looked at the signature. My name was there, but it wasn't my handwriting. Someone had forged my signature. Without saying another word, I left the bank and drove straight to the county recorder's office. After requesting the records, an employee handed me a folder. Inside was the same power of attorney. Attached to it was something even worse. A deed transfer request. My fully paid-off house was waiting to be transferred into someone else's control. I couldn't breathe. I sat in my truck for nearly 20 minutes, reading the papers again and again, hoping I had misunderstood. I hadn't. That evening, I called my best friend, Gary. "Gary, I think someone is trying to steal my house." He stayed silent for a moment. Then he asked the one question I had been avoiding. "Does Ryan know?" "I don't know." Gary sighed. "If he does, that's going to hurt more than losing the house." The next morning, I hired Rebecca Voss, one of the toughest estate attorneys in Oregon. She carefully examined every page. After only a few minutes, she looked up at me. "David, this notary doesn't exist." "What do you mean?" She slid the document across the desk. "The stamp is fake. Someone created this document from scratch." Rebecca immediately filed paperwork to cancel the fake power of attorney, froze the deed transfer, and began tracing every document back to its source. Before I left her office, she gave me one instruction. "For the next 6 weeks, don't tell Ryan or Amanda anything. Act like nothing happened. We're going to let the evidence speak first." I nodded. But 6 weeks later, when I finally went to speak with my son, he stood in the doorway and refused to let me inside. 6 weeks passed without a single word. I acted like everything was normal while my lawyer quietly gathered evidence. Every document pointed to one person, Amanda. Then one Saturday evening, Ryan and Amanda invited everyone over for dinner. Amanda's parents were visiting, and I knew it was time to confront them. Ryan opened the front door. The moment he saw me, his expression changed. He stepped into the doorway, stretched out both arms, and said, "Dad, you're not coming inside while my wife's family is here." I looked at my own son in disbelief. "Ryan, do you know what Amanda has done?" He lowered his eyes. "Please." "Not tonight." Just then, Amanda walked into the hallway. She smiled at first, but when she saw the papers in my hand, her smile disappeared. "David," she said, "whatever this is, can it wait?" I shook my head. "No, someone forged my signature. Someone filed a fake power of attorney. Someone tried to steal my house." Amanda stood completely still. Finally, she whispered, "I was only trying to protect the family." I replied, "Protecting the family doesn't mean stealing from it." Ryan turned toward Amanda. "Tell me he's wrong." Amanda stayed silent. That silence told Ryan everything. His face went pale as he realized the truth. I looked at my son one last time. "I'm not here to argue. I'm here to stop this before it's too late." Then I turned around, walked back to my car, and called my lawyer. "It's over," I said. Rebecca answered calmly. "Good, the evidence is complete. Now let the law do its job." Within days, investigators began their work. Amanda lost control of everything she had tried to protect, and soon, she would have to face the consequences of the biggest mistake of her life. Investigation moved quickly. Rebecca had already collected every piece of evidence. The fake power of attorney, the forged signature, the fake notary stamp, and the attempted deed transfer all pointed to Amanda. Within days, police interviewed everyone involved. Amanda finally admitted that she had created the documents because she believed saving the restaurant was worth the risk. But the law didn't see it that way. She was charged with forgery and identity theft. Soon after, the law firm where she worked received the investigation records. She lost her job within a week. Her paralegal certification was permanently revoked, ending the career she had spent years building. A few months later, the restaurant closed its doors for good. The debt that had started everything couldn't be stopped. Ryan moved out shortly after. He and Amanda separated, and for the first time in years, my son started calling me again. Our conversations were awkward at first. Neither of us knew what to say. Trust doesn't come back overnight. One evening, he quietly said, "Dad, I'm sorry." I looked at him and replied, "Son, people make mistakes. The important thing is deciding what kind of person you become after them." He nodded, but I could still see the guilt in his eyes. Carol had the locks on our house changed, not because she thought Amanda would return, but because, as she said, home should always feel safe. 6 months have passed since that day. The house is still ours. The title is clean. The legal battle is over. Some relationships survived. Others never will. I learned that the greatest betrayal doesn't always come from strangers. Sometimes it comes from the people you trusted the most. But I also learned something else. The best revenge isn't anger. It's protecting what's yours, standing for the truth, and letting justice speak for itself.